Taking care of yourself is the only way you can care for those around you, the only way you can show up and be the best artist, the best CPA, the best director, the best president of an international company. The only way you can show up and do those things is if you are pouring from a full cup. And that is what we take very seriously as facilitators of all of our events and our groups, is we get to do the pouring into you so that then you can pour from a full cup.
Hello, my creative friend. Welcome to the BDI Create Today podcast. This is a podcast where we'll discover the who, what, where, when, why, and how you can be creative or have more creativity. And together, we'll explore the extraordinary impact creativity can have in your life, in your heart, mind, body, and soul. And if we haven't met yet, I am Beth Buffington, a licensed artist, digital illustration instructor, and a creative coach living just outside of the windy city of Chicago, Illinois. But mostly, I am someone who is curious about how creativity can weave its way into our lives. Now, each week we're going to look at one or more of the sparkly facets that make up the ever-changing kaleidoscope that is creativity. Hello, my creative friend. Welcome back to another episode of Create Today with Beth Buffington. You know, I love to have guests on, and today we're having Lisa Murphy come back and join us. And we're just going to have a discussion about the things that Lisa and I do together. I think there's such important issues and events. So that's what we're going to do today, is have a conversation about why what we do is so important for you, my friend. So Lisa, welcome back to Create Today. I am so excited to have you here again today.
Hi, Beth. Thank you so much. And hello to all of your listeners. And I'm so excited for this conversation as well. I learned so much when I started working with you, and just the synergy of creativity and wellness. And I didn't really get it, but now I do. So, man, I am here to sing to the rafters. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, you know what I want to open up with is something that I became very aware of when I prepared my last podcast episode. And that is that 76% of all adults are concerned about the future of our country, our world, and it has become a major source of stress for them, just wondering about the future of our world. And that is on top of what is happening with a job, with family, with relationships, with caring for parents or children. That's a lot.
Oh my gosh, 76% of adults are worried about the future of our world. That is very sobering, that
Yep.
statistic. And what I'm guessing then, of course, that trickles down to more anxiety, probably more depression, more sleepless nights, maybe people not taking care of themselves the way that they should because they're so stressed out. It's a vicious cycle.
It is. And quite often, when we're feeling that kind of stress and overwhelm, we put ourselves in the back seat and we don't pay attention to our needs. And that is when we really get into trouble. So I thought today, wouldn't it be a great idea just to talk about, well, what is it that we do at a Sylva event? And how is it something that can, help people figure out how to put a lid on their stress or calm their anxiety and just feel better about themselves today so that their tomorrow will be a little bit better. But you ready to talk about that?
Absolutely. Let's go. Let's talk about it, Beth.
So one of the things that I think we need to stress so much is a lot of people who know me think, oh, Beth's an artist. So these retreats must be just artsy retreats where we're going to go make some fun stuff to take home, to decorate our house with, or to give us gifts. But that's not what they are. I think Lisa has learned that my focus on creativity is very different. Can you tell everybody what you've learned?
Fact, I am not an artist. I cannot draw a stick figure. I I have no talent when it comes to that. But what I learned from you, Beth, is that this isn't about being an artist. It is about expressing your innate creativity. Everyone is creative, and I am so proud to own that these days. I am creative. And and what I learned and am still learning, and I've got some stories, is that creativity is not a skill or a talent. Well, it can be a skill that you cultivate, but it's not a talent that you either have or you don't. It is a practice, it is a tool. And what I love about it in the context of that terrifying statistic is that it can help us when we are overwhelmed, when we are spun out. It is a practice just like meditation or yoga or going for a run.
Yes, yeah. That is what I have been fascinated about for years now, is just realizing that my creativity wasn't just about the time I sat down in front of a sketch pad or my iPad to create and procreate. There was so much more about my creativity that I was using. And the way I was looking at the world quite often made me feel just a little bit lighter and brighter and less stressed. So, in exploring that and doing a lot of reading, I found that not only is the way I was being playful with life a real thing, but it's backed by science.
Mm.
And that's what I love. Every time I think about something about lighting a candle for dinner, is there science that proves that that actually does something to your psyche to make you feel better? Is that something? And when I dig into it, I always find a study that says, yep, this is a real thing and it does great things for your brain and for just the way you feel and care for yourself.
Absolutely. I love that you bring up science because whew, I love me some science and I also love me some woo woo. And what I love best is when the two intersect.
Mhm.
In my vibrant living, vibrant coaching practice, I work a lot with some of my modalities, which a few are yoga, meditation, mindfulness. And what I'm learning in those areas, and I'm guessing it's true for you with creativity, is that science is now backing up, proving, supporting, reiterating what wisdom traditions the ancients have said for thousands of years. They just simply had different names for them. And
Mm.
I just think that is like so freaking cool.
It also gives you a reason to say, it is important for me to do this thing today.
Yeah.
I thought it would be really nice is if we explained the three areas that we really focus on in a Sylva retreat. Sylva Solace in the fall and Sylva Synergy this May. We focus on core care, creative care, and community care. And there's just a special way we stir all these things together that makes people go home not only feeling more alive, but also going home to say, I now know some ways to take care of myself better so that I can not only remember this weekend as being something that was really satisfying, but as something that started something new for me. So
Mm.
you concentrate a lot on the core care part of Sylva. Tell everybody a little bit about what that means and how it directly reflects the life that you're living and what you're sharing with your students.
Yeah, absolutely. So to me, core care means core not in your stomach muscles, which that can be part of it too. But at the very heart of you is your core. So it is self-care and not self-care in the bubble baths and manicures and spa days. Yes, those can be part of it. However, I feel that a lot of times those types of things are very superficial, where we kind of back ourselves into a corner and then we try to take bubble baths to get ourselves out of the corner. So, core care is about let's don't get in the corner to begin with. So, how can we be proactive with our health, our well being? My programs all work with what I call my four pillars of vibrant living: food, what we eat; mood, how we're managing our stress; rest, are we resting? Are we getting enough sleep? And movement, how are we moving our bodies? And that's what I love about working with you, is that we can bring creativity into each and every one of those four pillars. But at its essence, that's what core care is about. It's like, let's really strip away all the layers, get inside to the core of it, and from there, let's build beautiful, sustainable habits that might involve bubble baths and pedicures. In fact, I hope it does if that's your thing. I know I'm a bath person, but let's start with our essence first and go from there.
Yeah, I've always had a fascination with just how my body reacts when I eat well, when I rest well, when my mood is at its peak, and when I have exercised. When you have all four of those things working in a strong way, it you really do feel very, very different. So at a Sylva retreat, Lisa is really good at bringing us in, no matter where you are in any of those levels. I mean, you don't need to have to come in and say, I'm training for a marathon to understand how you can move your body better. And you don't need to know how to meditate 20 minutes in lotus position to understand how you can think better. There's just some really wonderful ways that Lisa is able to help you understand how you can find where you are right now
Mhm.
and find ways to continue or make yourself even stronger and more resilient.
Yeah, thank you. And I think that's where probably we'll talk about community. But when we come together at a Silva event or in our Silva sessions, our group mastermind that we run together, we're coming together as a community and everybody is coming from a different place. This is never about making somebody feel badly because they aren't at a certain level. Let's come together to raise each other up. And if you are training for marathons, awesome. Let me help you with that. If you are not currently walking around the block, fantastic. Today's the day to start. And when we get together in community, the support that we see is absolutely amazing. We inspire each other, we learn from each other, and it doesn't matter what your level is, so to speak. What matters is that you have desire, that you have a desire to take care of yourself.
Yes, yes. That makes me think about creative care. And the way I'm going to be approaching this when we go to Sylva Synergy is we're going to figure out where you are and then where to go next. So my four words to go forwards is revive, realize, refine, and release. When you're in the revive stage, you're figuring out where you need to rest, how you need to rest, because you have an energy level that needs some sort of maintenance. And how can you refill that energy once depleted? Then we have the realize phase. And in this phase, we're going to concentrate on how realizing is being mindful of what you're thinking about so you can decide if you're going forwards in a good direction or if you need to make new pathways in your brain so that you can undo some patterns that have not been serving you well. And then in the refined stage, we talk about doing the work. And you can have a lot of great ideas, but if you don't put them into action, if Lisa teaches you what to eat, but then you go home and you don't practice what you learned, you're not doing the work and you're not going to see those improvements. The important thing is to know that you don't have to make big strides every day to make improvements. Small creative acts, they compound, they add up. Once you start realizing something is good for you and you can incorporate that into a ritual, into a new pattern, and you let that compound, if you start today, imagine where you could be a year from now. That's amazing.
Oh, that is amazing. And so much, Beth. I can hardly sit on my hands. A common thread with what you just said and the way I do my best to live and work is recognizing where you are.
Yes.
And I think that is so important, especially if we go back to that 76% who are truly worried about the state of our world. Okay, I am not going to tell anyone, don't feel that way. We have got to recognize where we are, because if we don't, we can't know how to best move forward. I liken it to putting directions in your GPS in your car. If you want to get to the grocery store, you got to tell it where you're starting from,
Yeah.
because otherwise it can't tell you how to get there. If we can't really acknowledge the reality of where we are, we cannot possibly be able to forge the best path forward.
Yeah.
And that's where creativity comes in, I think. It's like, okay, I'm here. I don't really like it here, but I'm here. So, how can I get creative
Yeah.
to move over to that place that I'd rather be?
Yeah. I love your GPS metaphor because one, you need to know where you are. So GPS knows where to start your directions, and you need to know where you want to go,
Mhm.
right? It gives you a place that you can start, and then a dream, a goal, a plan, a path where you would like to go next. That is something that we do while at a Sylva event and at Sylva Synergy is help you take a look at who you are and just what are your self-care needs? What have you been denying yourself? Where are you allowing yourself to let negative thoughts just run you ragged? And then how can you find ways to cope better so that you can be more resilient in the face of what we're facing today? And the last word in my going forwards is release. And I think that's a really important one. Release is saying, let it go, let it out into the world to do what it needs to do. What do you need to release? And sometimes that is baggage that you're carrying that you don't need to drag with you anymore. So, the way we can interact with each other, the way I see creativity, and the way Lisa can intertwine her core care together, it makes these weekends so magical and very unique.
Yeah. And I have found, as I've had the pleasure now to work with several artists, is, and you tell me, is this just a hazard of the job? But what I'm finding, and this is sad, and perhaps it's indicative of our entire culture, is that a lot of creatives, core care is last on their list
Mhm.
because they're making their art, they're selling their art, they're doing a day job, and then, oh, of course, they may be taking care of aging parents or a family. So I think it's a really beautiful opportunity to help people in that demographic. So we're not saying to come to a Sylva event, you can't be an artist or creative. Absolutely not. You need it too. We
Yeah.
need you too, because you're going to learn that creativity is another tool to help keep you well. And
Yeah.
if you already are an artist, come and learn perhaps some new and fun, better ways to take care of yourself, because your body is your most important tool, whether you're an artist or an accountant.
Yeah. One of the things that I stress is that everyone is creative and that everyone should have some sort of creative pastime that they do when they're not working. It is a place for you to rest your brain. And science says that if you allow yourself to have some time in creativity, that you will feel more positive energy and thoughts, and that this vitality that you generate, it bleeds into the next day. The next day, it's so good for you that it just surfs its way into your very next day.
Mm.
So when we're at the retreat, we will be doing some creative practices so that you can kind of get a feel for what that feels like when you're doing it.
Yeah. And I learned from you that creativity is indeed a practice. And just telling on myself, when I first tried to start embracing that thought as a fact, you can see my resistance. And I just share that because other listeners may be like, yeah, no, right? Like, totally get it. I sat down with a group to do some crafting, if you will. And I was like, okay, I've had these embroidery needle hoops for probably 40 years. So I'm gonna I, okay, first of all, I couldn't thread the needle because my, I had to ask one of the younger ladies in the group to thread my needle for me, which was hysterical.
That has
I'm,
nothing to do with creativity.
yeah, it doesn't. It's like I just needed a different tool. I'm going to be really honest with you. I was frustrated.
Yeah.
I felt like I used to feel when I was the stereotypical oldest perfectionist child because that was me. And I wanted to cry. So this was new to me and what it felt like to see things from a beginner's mindset again. So it was really challenging. And I think I made like 3 stitches in an hour. I'm not kidding. Like I had to YouTube how to do the back stitch and all this. But all this to say that was really rewiring something in my brain. I needed to unlearn
Yeah.
something a lot before I could ease into it. And that was just incredibly illuminating for me. It was like, wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow, wow. And then, of course, once I stuck with it, the minutes flew by. I realized how meditative it is. And I'm guessing that's a big part of the science. You're able to get in a flow. And I can't wait to pick up my embroidery hoop now.
So I'm so glad you shared this, Lisa, because there are some commonalities that I'm sure you felt, especially when you're trying something brand new or you're trying something that you used to do a long time ago that you're trying to learn
Not
how to do
kidding.
again.
40
So
years.
this happens to everyone. For an example, my mom was teaching my granddaughter Fiona how to do some crochet. She was teaching her the simple chain loop. And it reminded me when I was in grade school how I had learned to crochet these little bookworm crochet worms. It was a type of crochet that coiled. And then at the end of it, you just did the chain loop. I think that's what it's called to do a long tail. And then the little worm would hang out of your book. And I thought, oh my gosh, I bet I could teach Fiona how to do that. And I thought, oh, I'll just watch a couple YouTubes. And I thought, here we go. We'll just make a quick worm. And here's what I found. I remembered nothing. So I had to go back to someone that was just teaching basics, crochet methods before I could even figure out what she was talking about to do the worm. And then the second thing is I'm left-handed and I couldn't find anyone making bookmark worms that was left-handed. So I was watching a video and then I had to think of it backwards in order to figure out how to do that.
Gosh.
I tell you what, it took me 3 weeks and I had this mountain of worms that had not worked. But I figured it out
Mm,
finally. And
yeah.
here's the thing, when I first got started, there was part of me that said, okay, we can't do this anymore. But I had already kind of promised that I was going to look into this. So I felt a little indebted to it. Thankfully, I made that commitment because it made me stick to it.
Mhm.
Anytime you learn something new, there is that learning curve, and you just need to embrace it and laugh it off. So allow yourself to embrace the beginning and know that because you're doing this on your own time, you don't have to worry about being perfect at it. Did you
Well,
have fun? That's the thing that you need to concentrate on.
yeah, and I'm going to take it one step back even is that for me, the most important part of this, what we were talking about, has nothing to do with the finished product.
Right.
It is all about the process. And you talked about thinking about what you're thinking. It was really confronting, I'm going to be honest, to feel and recognize some of the things that were coming up for me. So for me, it's not even about getting better, but it was very much about the actual process of it and about what I was learning about myself and then how I can use that in the rest of my life. And that is what I have found from you and from Sylva events and our Sylva sessions is that creativity is
It's about the doing.
it's about the doing, and it is simply a practice and a tool that has tremendous benefits, especially if you want to get curious about what's going on between your ears.
And this is really important for all of my creatives out there that are professional creatives. Because if you're thinking, oh, I'm creative because it's my job. Well, yes, you are. But when you have a creative job, you are creating on demand. And you're usually creating for someone who's given you a deadline, given you a project, or you're creating for a trend or for a season that you think someone will buy, that you will create. You very rarely stray out of what you feel super confident about. Like, I will draw rabbits because I know how to draw rabbits, or I will do watercolors because I do watercolors. If you're a professional creative, take yourself out of your genre and go somewhere you've never worked before, but go there with a beginner's mindset and allow yourself to fail and even find humor in just how newbie you are and how awful you might be at the very beginning, because that place where you're building new neural pathways in your brain is so healthy for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And what if you just created for yourself?
Yes.
If you created for no one else but yourself. And that is core care right there. Like,
Yes.
what can I do just for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned neural pathways, and that's one of the things where science is caught up with the woo woo. In yogic tradition, it's called samskara, and now science calls it neuroplasticity. And that is one of the biggest, to me, benefits beyond just feeling good about creativity. I described my frustrating experience with the embroidery. I was creating new neural pathways, and we can continue to do that as we age. Our brains do not have to shrivel up. We can continue to create new neural pathways to learn new things, and that helps to keep us very vibrant and healthy as we celebrate each birthday.
Yes. And just to explain a little bit about what a neural pathway is, if you do anything long enough, there becomes a path. People do that when they ride bikes where they're not supposed to. They're going to cut the corner at the sidewalk. That's a pathway that's been made. You can make pathways in your life that are like that, and they can be good for you and they can be bad for you. A bad pathway would be someone that needs to go outside and have a smoke after lunch every day. That is a habit that you've made that we know for a fact is not healthy for you. So if you wanted to change that from a bad pattern into a good pattern, you would need to find something different to do at that time of day that would then become a healthy pattern. And when you first start to do it, you are blazing a trail through a thick piece of swampy forest land. And it is not easy going because you've never traveled this way. And it's going to take a while before that path becomes a groove that you can walk easily. And that is where doing something small, little tiny bits of improvement every day you'll start compounding onto your improvements, and then that pathway gets built.
Yes, and I love, you know, it is a practice. We have to practice. And you wouldn't, unless you're crazy, go out and run a marathon without training first.
Yeah.
We're building new muscles. To put it in somatic terms, it's happening in the brain, so it is often we can't see that, but we are literally building new muscles. And that takes some time and some patience. And I think sometimes we get so kind of clogged up in our own world, right? 76% of us are worried about the state of the world. We've got family situations. We've got to pay the bills, blah, 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 blah. We may have health issues. So how do we even see our way out of the forest? But to me, stepping back from all of that is the only way to see clearly so that I know what to do. Just like you explained it when you were starting with your worms, that's hysterical. You had to step back and start from the very beginning. You were all mired up in the worms that weren't turning into worms, and you basically just had to put it all down and go, okay, I got to step back. And that is why I love the retreat as a vehicle,
Yes.
because we cannot do this by ourselves. If you can, good for you. Keep doing what you're doing. But for me to get a new start, a fresh start, a reboot, just like your computer, I've got to step back. And that's why I love running retreats. And that's why I go on retreats because it is so important to me. It's an investment in myself to get away from what I can't see so that I can have a fresh start.
And there's no better way to allow yourself the space to really focus deeply than to say, this is a weekend that I am investing in myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to put aside all the things that are stressing me right now. And I'm going to just be selfish and concentrate on me and what I can do to make me better. Because healing is not a solo journey. And we do it better when we have a community around us, when we have some guidance, and when we have support. And that is what you're going to get at any of the Sylva offerings. You get the guidance, you get the support of others that are doing the same thing you're doing.
And I'm going to play bad cop here a little bit to Beth's good cop. And I would like to talk about the word selfish because none of this is selfish. For real.
Yes.
It is not selfish. In fact, it is the opposite. Taking care of yourself is the only way you can care for those around you, the only way you can show up and be the best artist, the best CPA, the best director, the best president of an international company. The only way you can show up and do those things is if you are pouring from a full cup. And that is what we take very seriously as facilitators of all of our events and our groups is we get to do the pouring into you so that then you can pour from a full cup.
So, what we're saying is it's okay for you to say, this is my time.
Yeah.
Allow yourself the focus on just you because so many of us, wow, we set aside our time to have creative time when we are done with our to-do list, done feeding our families, done with housework, done with all the chores and responsibilities that we've got, done with the emails, done with whatever our boss or our manager or whoever is lording over us says needs to get accomplished. When all those things are done, so often it's late at night and we are exhausted and barely we barely have time to just thump ourselves into bed. And many of us are still reading email up until the point where we lay on the pillow.
Yeah.
So when you have trouble carving out that time, you say to yourself, I'm going to invest in how I am important to me. The best way to do that is schedule it. If it's on your calendar, you'll go. If you make a dentist appointment, you'll go to that dentist appointment. So do the same thing for yourself. Schedule the time and then don't let anything get in the way of it. Because you've scheduled it, make it a priority.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Priority is a really great word. And it's time for a lot of women's priorities to shift. I'm just going to call that out. Priorities have often been about other people. And I'm going to just go out on a limb and say, here's a challenge. Isn't it time to prioritize yourself?
Yeah. So, Lisa, tell everyone where Synergy is and what is going on at the venue we've chosen, because that's magical too.
I am so excited to bring Sylva Synergy to Atchison, Kansas, which is just about an hour north of Kansas City. It is less than 45 minutes from the Kansas City International Airport, so it's very easily accessible. And it will be taking place in the Muchnick Art Gallery in Atchison. Let me tell you, you may be like, I have never heard of Atchison, Kansas. Is that where Dorothy was from? Well, let me tell you, it is going to be on your radar soon if it's not already. Amelia Earhart birthplace. There is so much creative, strong, feminine energy going on in this town. Women entrepreneurs, women doing all kinds of amazing things, and men too. We like men too. It's on a river. It is going to be absolutely beautiful in spring. And this old Victorian house where we are holding the retreat, man, it has got some stories to tell. And if we're talking about just soaking up some vibes, there are going to be a lot of really, really good vibes to be had.
Yeah, I can hardly wait. If you love old Victorian homes that are perfectly preserved, you will enjoy coming to just see the architecture there.
Mhm.
And also, it's a gallery. There's a lot of interesting work that they will be showing at the gallery as well.
Yeah, I'd like to go over what people can expect with
Oh,
each
great
day.
idea. Yes, please.
Yeah. So it's considered a day retreat, which means that you are welcome just to come for the day. You do not have to stay. It's not a residential retreat. If you do want to come for the whole weekend, like if you don't live nearby, absolutely there are hotels and Airbnbs and we can help with that. But if you're local or if you live in the Kansas City area, you can simply commute. It's not such a big investment in that regard. But we will have an opening circle, an opening ceremony. Every morning, we will have core care in the form of yoga practice, breathing exercises, maybe some mindfulness meditation. Beth and I have a wonderful activity we call a sensory walk that's always wildly popular. We'll be doing that. We'll have continental breakfast each day. We will have lunch on site each day. Beth will lead us in some creative exercises. And we also have a team of wonderful massage therapists and energy healers on site. You can purchase a chair massage or even a full body massage. So you can see that we have curated an amazing schedule of opportunity for you to pick and choose what's best going to serve you and to help you. If you're a creative who needs to focus on your wellness, you're going to get that. If you don't consider yourself an artist, you're going to get to experience creativity and see how that can be integrated into your life.
Yes. And you can choose to come on Saturday or Sunday, but I tell you what, if you can come for the whole weekend, that is where you're going to get the most out of all the goodness.
Go big or go home, right?
Yeah.
Come on, let's just do it. Like,
Yeah.
just commit. Like you said, once we commit, we're in.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's a wonderful opportunity to spend Friday night, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, just for you.
And if you sign up to be a VIP, you get to have a wonderful dinner with everyone else that's a VIP and with Lisa and I on Saturday evening. It'll give you some extra time just to get to know us and ask us some questions that you might have been a little shy to ask during any of our sessions. And we are going to be having some fabulous food that night,
Mm.
too.
Yes, and bring your swimmers because the VIP dinner will be held at a private home in Atchison. And I'm just going to tell you that private home has a swimming pool and a hot tub, just saying.
You don't have to come to swim if you don't want to, but if you want to, come, yeah, come with your floaties.
I bet floaties will be provided.
What I know is that the universe leans in and that we always get a group of people that we're destined to be together. So
Mhm.
if you're listening to this today and your ears are pricking up about investing in yourself, in figuring out ways that you can have better self care, this is a wonderful weekend that you don't want to miss. So do come and join us. And like I said, the universe leans in and we always get a group of people that were meant to be together. Do you know what I mean, Lisa?
Yeah, it always works out that way. People come from different parts of the country, people don't know each other, and uh, we're all sisters when we leave.
Yes, indeed. We are. We are. So, Lisa, tell everyone if there's anything important going on in your world right now that we should know about, in addition to Sylva Synergy.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, my ongoing programs are focused on core care, and I have my yoga community, which we have live online yoga classes every weekday. It is wonderful. And then I also have my one-on-one vibrant living coaching. So if you are a woman, a middle-aged woman who wants to continue to have grand adventures, climb volcanoes, be able to get down on the floor with your kids or grandkids, one-on-one coaching can make all the difference in the world. Yeah,
Yes.
thanks, Beth. Thanks, Beth.
Yeah, you're
And then are you
welcome.
going to tell them about Silva Sessions?
Yes. So Sylva Sessions is for anyone that is thinking, oh, I wish I could come to the retreat, but that weekend is busy. Sylva Sessions is an online membership where we meet to talk about these principles that you've heard today, but we meet twice a month and we will concentrate on one of those core principles, core care, creative care, or community care, and how you can incorporate that into your life. So you'll get some practical advice and practices that you can actually employ into your life, and you'll be surrounded by a wonderful and a supportive group of individuals who are learning that creativity is the best way to make your life beautiful as you concentrate on your core care. So Sessions is really easy to sign up for, and you'll see that you can sign up in the show notes, or you can go to www.bdi-create.today and just click on the Sylva button in the menu, and it'll take you to all the Sylva events that you can choose from. And Sylva Sessions is there. If you have any questions, Lisa and I are here to chat with you about any questions or curiosities and how we can help you go forward so that you're not one of those 76% of people who are so worried about the world that it is your major cause of stress. There is a way for you to lower your stress levels, even though the world is a dumpster fire at times.
Yeah.
Because you can live a happy life, even though there is a lot going on in our world. And that is what we focus on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Lisa, thank you so much for coming and spending some time with us today. I talk to you all the time on my own, so it's just really neat for us to come in and share a little bit of the goodness that we talk about all the time, but to do it with the listeners. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, Beth.
All right, everyone. No matter whether you are going to be part of Sylva Synergy or Sylva Sessions, my hope for you is that you'll take some of the goodness that we've talked about today, about how you can learn to take creativity and look at it as, how can I use my creative passions just to make life a little more beautiful for me every day? I hope you find a way to do that for yourself today. And you know, my wish for you, as always, is to stay creative, my friend. Thanks for joining us. Love you, Lisa. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, Beth.
Bye-bye.